the annual meeting of Jonesboro Rotary for this week. We will not meet next week, because next week will be Satellite Club on Tuesday night. So
And I'm sorry, Patrick, we're meeting at Smoking Barrel
Smoking Barrel this time.
Tuesday at 6 p.m., which is to say we're not meeting at Camelback, so meet at Smoking Barrel.
Tuesday. Yep, we're coming Tuesday. We're at Smoking Barrel.
Tuesday at 6 p.m.
Satellite Club.
Yep.
And then, so there's no regular club meeting next week. But the 4 Tuesdays, there's a big event on Saturday. Dave, do you want to give an update on Rising Against Hunger?
Yeah, I just sent out the final email this morning. Rise Against Hunger Saturday starts first shift 10 o'clock at the fairgrounds, and we have a little over 120 volunteers signed up now, so we're in pretty good shape to get the event finished. So, and we'll discuss at the next board meeting if we want to do Rise Against Hunger again next year, or we want to explore doing something different with our grant funds. But anyway, if you haven't signed up and you're still interested, check your email. I'll send it to the whole club. So there's a link you can click on and register. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David, for all the
Thanks,
work
David.
put into it this year, and you and Chad and everybody signed up. Thank you for that. Other announcements?
So Carl and I think Neil.
Neil? Yep.
Okay, want to welcome Carl Harris as our newest member of Jonesboro Rotary Club. And Carl, here is a membership certificate.
Thank you.
You have a magnetic name badge, and this is the Rotary pin. And I don't know if you want to pin it on him now or just hang on to it.
I'll let his wife pin it on him later.
And also a T-shirt. This is a Rotarian, Jonesboro Rotary, Rotarian at Work T-shirt. So if we're doing a service project, backpack pals or anything like that, you can wear your T-shirt. If it's not the correct size, let us know. We'll get one that will work. But we're thrilled to have you as a new member. I look forward to getting to know you well, as I'm sure the rest of the members do. And if you want to just maybe take 30 seconds and kind of talk about yourself, let us know what you do. And
okay, yeah, I still work, so finding time for these things is a little tough. Finding time to play golf is a little tough. But yeah, I work for the Department of Homeland Security in Washington, so I'm away a lot for a variety of things that, you know, when you hear about explosives being found in baggage, perhaps, you know, things like that, that's what I get called. But I'm involved with all that. So that's what I do. My background was Department of Defense, so I'm a scientist, so I develop a lot of systems for our soldiers to use. So that's kind of what I've done for all my life.
we would like for you to have a little program one day and kind of.
But you got some North Carolina in your background too. I think you should just
Well, my
mention
wife
that.
does, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I grew up in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, but you went to UNC, right?
True, yeah. I went to Carolina, graduated from there, and then I got my PhD at NC State.
Yeah.
Oh, you chose a better school city.
There you go. Well, the interesting thing is my senior year was when Michael Jordan won, you know, with Carolina won. And then my first year as a PhD at NC State, that's when Jimmy Valvano and the team won. So that was kind of, I guess that's something I can say that's entertaining.
Not many people.
Well, Carl, welcome to the club. And everybody will be wanting to congratulate you after the meeting, I'm sure, but we're glad to have you.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, we need a picture before you sit down, all right, Carl? All right, big smile, everybody. Perfect.
Carl gets a gold star. He's already bought lots of gold tickets.
All right. Zach, will you introduce our program for today?
All right, we got Mr. Kerry Bashaw here with Brick Capital. I always say Brick City Capital. It's all right. Brick Capital. I don't want to steal away your thunder, so the floor is yours.
Okay.
Bring us up to speed. What do they do?
Great.
How do they help the community?
Should I
Can
stand?
you stay right ahead?
Right here.
there.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, well, I got some notes here that I want to talk a little bit about, but how's this, Terry?
How's the lighting?
How's everything? Terry's one of our board members at Brick Capital, in fact, and so known Terry for a long time. So Brick Capital, who are we? What do we do? Well, first of all, we're a nonprofit organization. We were founded back in 1990, a long time ago. And it was actually founded by the city of Sanford. The city, of my understanding, and again, I wasn't around at the time, but my understanding was the city of Sanford wanted to do a good amount of housing rehab, new construction, things like that. Municipalities can't do that themselves, and so they decided to found a nonprofit organization that is now Brick Capital Community Development Corporation. Community development corporations are not new. They are found across America, CDCs as they're known. Their CDCs take part in a wide variety of activities around community development. It just so happens how we define our community development efforts here in Sanford and Lee County is through housing. So really, Brick Capital does three things. If I were to describe us in a nutshell, first of all, we are a property manager of housing units. There we provide what's known as supportive housing. Supportive housing means that we do more than just collect rent and take care of the maintenance items. We actually provide a good amount of case management services to our tenants. Our tenants who might have physical or mental disabilities. Our tenants might be formerly homeless. Our tenants might be or have fled from domestic violence issues. And so there's a good amount of case management services that we try to provide to those tenants in the units that we currently manage. The second thing is we are also what's known as a HUD-approved housing counseling agency. So HUD has approved us to perform housing counseling activities. Now, what is housing counseling? Housing counseling is usually defined by us and others as helping especially first-time homebuyers navigate the home buying process there. So we deal with 99% of our clients are first-time home buyers. They've been renting 20 plus years of their lives. They don't know even where to start when it comes to buying a home. And so they come to us and we help them navigate that process. We talk to them about finding a realtor. We talk to them about mortgage companies and every terminology that goes into that, like escrow and amortization and all these terms that, you know, we probably learned ourselves once upon a time. But we really help out through the home buying process. But housing counseling can also mean housing stability services, and what I mean by that is we also help out with foreclosure prevention and eviction prevention services as well. So we help homeowners who are facing foreclosure. We act as a mediator between them and their lender to put together a workout plan or to get them access to, right now the state has a program for helping out and fund foreclosure prevention, in fact, and so we connect people with that. And same thing with eviction prevention. We act as the mediator between the tenants and the landlord. If it becomes more of a legal issue for the courts, we connect them to organizations like Legal Aid of North Carolina to help them if they're facing eviction. And so that's what we do as a housing counseling agency. But the third thing that we do, and that's really what I want to spend the most time talking to y'all about today, is we are a developer of affordable housing. So I want to talk a little bit about that and what that means, and especially what is affordable housing. Some of y'all, probably John and Terry, has heard my spiel on what is affordable housing, but any chance I get to talk about affordable housing, I like to, because there's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to affordable housing. If I were to take a poll, you would each probably have a different definition of what exactly that means. Let me give you HUD's definition. That's the definition we like to use. I'm reading it verbatim. Affordable housing is generally defined as housing on which the occupant is paying more than 30% of their gross income towards housing-related costs. That's what affordable housing is. It doesn't matter if you're a millionaire or you're making minimum wage, as long as you're not spending over 30% of your gross income on housing-related costs, that housing is affordable to you, period. That's what affordable housing is. We should all hope to have affordable housing, no matter what our income levels is. Now, why is affordable housing usually implied towards low to moderate income families? That is a somewhat easy answer and somewhat complicated answer. The easy answer is this. There's no housing developers out there who are building housing for the lower end of and low to moderate income household families right now. The average starting home price on new construction is close to $300,000 for a new home. And I'm going to break that down a little bit more on why that is not affordable for the majority of Lee County residents, for example, here. But first, before I kind of dive into that and define why affordable housing is such a problem right now, or finding housing that is affordable for most families is a problem right now, I want to talk about the good news. Obviously, the good news is Lee County's experienced a number of growth in lots of different areas when it comes to economic development and in kind when it comes to income. So there's a lot of growth that's going on. And so one of the kind of guidelines that we use when it comes to defining the families that we serve is what's known as the area median income, or AMI, you might have heard. So I use the term low to moderate income. What does that mean? Well, you can define that on a wide spectrum, but low to moderate income is anywhere between 0% of the AMI, area median income, all the way up to even 150% of the area median income. What is Lee County's area median income? Well, first let me go back. In 2020, for a family of 4, and this is HUD's definition. HUD does calculations every year, and they define per county what is the area median income. In 2020, for a family of 4, the area median income was $62,125. In 2022, they haven't released 2023 numbers yet, the area median income jumped to $66,875. So that was an 8% increase over a 2-year period. So again, that kind of tracks with what we're hearing as far as economic development. Better jobs are coming to the community, therefore income is rising as a whole in our community. But I want to talk about that's the good news and why we're now struggling to find housing that is affordable for families using that 30% definition. Let me talk about this real quick as well. So if 30% is considered affordable and spending no more than 30% of your gross income is affordable, beyond that, you are what's called cost burdened with your housing. If you're spending more than 30%, you're cost burdened. Per the North Carolina Housing Coalition, they put out annual reports per county in North Carolina. And according to them, 26% of Lee County residents are cost burdened, meaning they are paying over 30% of their household income towards housing-related costs. So I wanted to define that. But the other thing I wanted to define is kind of back to finding housing that is affordable. I'm going to throw out some numbers, and probably John has better numbers than I have, but I got my figures from Realtor.com, for example.
That's pretty much what I get.
Okay, excellent. So this isn't new to you, probably John, but back in January 2021, 2 years ago, the median sold price of a house, not what it was listed for, but what it actually sold for, was $202,000. That's the median. In January of 2023, that median sold price is now $295,000. And if you're doing the math, that's a 46% increase in a 2-year period. Now, how much did the median income increase over 2 years? You remember? 8%. Yet 46% increase in housing, in home sales. Added to that is the problem of, so already we have a problem. We have a disconnect there with the rate of housing costs that's gone up. And I'm only talking about houses for sale and not even talking about how rents have gone up in kind for families in the community. But kind of exacerbating the problem has been the fact that interest rates have increased dramatically over the past 2 years. So over that same period, back in January 2021, the average interest rate for a 30-year fixed loan was 2.79%. Wow, that's great. In January, it's now 6.5%. That represents a 54% increase in interest rates. Now, what does that mean? Well, let me break it down for you. Let's just use a loan for $200,000. A loan for $200,000, 30 years at 2.79% interest, just principal and interest, is $820. Increasing that interest rate to 6.5%, that goes up to a monthly payment of $1,264. So that's a 54% increase in just what your monthly payment would have been. So we not only have home prices that have skyrocketed, interest rates have skyrocketed, which has made affordability even harder. So let's go back to the median family there. That median family, again, $66,875 is the typical family here in North Carolina, a family of four, that makes $66,875. You break that up monthly, that's $5,573. So what that means, again, back to HUD's definition of affordability, 30%, and I'm going to add in taxes and insurance, what's known as PITI, principal, interest, taxes, insurance. They can afford no more than a monthly payment of $1,700 a month on a home. That sounds pretty good. Now, what does that equal as far as a loan goes, and therefore a sales price? Well, that roughly equals a loan/sales price of only about $225,000. And I know I don't have to tell this to John, good luck finding a home in Lee County that is at that price point right now. So, I need to define the problem before I can define how Brick Capital is trying to help with the solution. So, I hope we can all agree affordable housing is a problem. And again, what I mean by that, just to be clear, I'm not talking about low quality housing. I'm not even talking about low income housing. I'm talking about the median family in Lee County. Your typical family cannot find housing that is affordable to them in Lee County. And that's not only Lee County, name a county, pick a county. Anywhere in North Carolina or across America, you're going to have that problem. Housing has become a crisis. And so I know for a lot of us, when we hear the growth that's happening here in Lee County, when we see home prices go up, that's kind of a glass half full kind of perspective there. But I want to make sure that we see the bottom half of that glass as well when it comes to affordable housing. Now, I'm not trying to depress y'all or anything like that, because now I want to talk about what is Brick Capital trying to do to help with this problem. Well, again, we are a housing developer. We build houses. We are a developer of housing. What does that mean as a developer? Well, that means we finance the houses, we build on land that we own, and then we find a general contractor to build houses for us. So we build what's known as turnkey homes for families, and especially families at the price point that we're talking about. The vast majority, I think we've only sold one home over $200,000. Most of our homes are less than $200,000 that we're able to sell to families there. Now, there's lots of ways that we're able to do that. There's no real secret to that. For example, affordability starts with the price of the land. As a nonprofit, we sometimes get land donated to us. We can pass along that cost savings to the family. It can be as simple as that. But we're able to do it. And we also do it through what's known as private-public partnerships. So the city of Sanford, we partnered with. We have two large projects that we are currently working on. One of them is right across from Horton Park. We own 16 acres of land. We are creating a brand new subdivision right there that's going to include 45 single-family homes and a 16-unit apartment complex right there. Also, go straight down Charlotte Avenue until it dead ends. If you've ever been all the way down Charlotte Avenue, that's an area known as Jackson Heights. We just finished building 5 houses down there, and we are going to be building 20 more houses down there, also with some funding that we were able to get through the state, through what's known as a community development block grant funding. So the city of Sanford actually applied for that funding with the state on our behalf, and we were able to get a total of $6 million from the state that we just found out about back in November. We're looking to break ground on one of those projects in the fall, and then the rest of the Jackson Heights project down here probably sometime next year. So we are constantly looking for ways that we can help median families afford home ownership, especially, is what we're trying to do. So obviously our efforts are modest compared to the problems that exist. And so as we've seen, there's been a lot of new housing development that's gone up, and we've seen those prices of what new construction can look like. But I just wanted y'all to understand that the median, the typical family, again, can't afford home ownership right now. And so we are trying to do what we can and trying to increase and ramp up our efforts for home ownership as well. Something that we recently decided to do, I mentioned that we're a developer of housing, we're not a contractor. We usually hire a general contractor to build our houses. Something that just happened, Terry knows, we actually just became our own general contractor. In fact, so Brick Capital is now our residential general contractor, and that just happened last month, in fact. So we are looking for opportunities to kind of take on projects ourselves and really expand our role in home ownership development here in the community. So that's my spiel.
Any questions for Kerry? I mean, he just filled us with a whole mess of information, and
Yeah, that's
the reason
a lot
he
of
kept
numbers.
referring to me is that whether it's through volunteerism or Chamber of Commerce, you might tell that we've communicated a lot on this. I've actually
That's
taught courses at Brick Capital Community Development, and something that we were talking about at our table over here, Kerry had succeeded Kate Rumley as Executive Director of Brick Capital Community Development. So Kate was a member of Jonesboro Rotary for a very long time. I talked to her just last week, and not because Kerry was coming today, but she had said that she wanted to become more involved and maybe come back and see us and all that stuff. But what I love so much, and I hope I don't repeat what you just said, the definition of affordable housing, I think that whether you're in real estate development or not in real estate development, I think it is not to be derogatory to say, oh, affordable housing, that's for folks that can't afford homes, right? I think that's what America thinks affordable housing is. That's not what affordable housing is. I don't know how many people in Los Angeles County are housing insecure, and I dare to say it's probably 60% of them.
Yeah.
And they could be making six figures and not be able to afford the rents there. So affordable housing is a multifaceted thing, obviously.
That's right, absolutely.
And in Lee County, you are exactly right. You can't find much housing below 300,000 right now, in any condition. So it is what it is.
That's right.
Any questions for Kerry? Rupert?
Yeah, you'll obviously save some money perhaps in construction costs by being your own general contractor.
Yes, sir.
But considering that supplies have gone up in a large degree here recently as well, are you able to build an affordable home, considering the cost of actually constructing one now?
Yeah, that's a good point, and I didn't even mention that. I mean, the pandemic has obviously affected in a number of ways, and I mentioned two out of the three ways, and that's the third way, which is housing costs have gone up just through sales, and then interest rates have gone up, and the third thing that's just making it near impossible is that, yes, construction costs have gone up in the past 2 years as well, and so you're right, it's becoming more and more difficult, and so what I would say to that is we used to have a more bottom end of the families that we can serve. So back to that AMI number, for example, most of the households that we were able to serve were at 80% of the AMI and below. One of the reasons why we focus on 80%, by the way, is because the state has a down payment assistance program that you can get up to $50,000 in down payment assistance, but one of the main requirements is that you're at 80% AMI and below. So back to that number, our bottom end used to be, as far as who we could build a house for, sell it to, get down payment assistance, was probably a family at 60% of the area median income. That number is starting to tick up, I would say, on who we're able to serve. Now, back to that 80% number, that doesn't mean that we don't serve families over that 80% number, and we've served families who are at, again, 150%, more on the moderate side of income. If you will, and so, but as we talk, there's a big gap in housing right now for low end all the way up to moderate to more middle class families are having a hard time. So Yes, to your points, that number is starting to kind of tick up as far as who we can serve through home ownership.
Because I mean, I've heard, what construction costs were and so much per square foot,
Yeah.
and it's gone up significantly over the last several years. I
It
know
has.
that, lumber and some other things have come down, but I haven't seen that translated into a decrease in construction
No-
costs.
Nor have we, Rupert. Rupert,
I
you're,
figured you would know those exactly.
Rupert, you're very sharp for those observations, and everything you said is true. And Kerry himself said it, there's no, secret sauce. Labor and materials, it's all labor and materials, and you go to Lowe's Home Improvement, and yes, lumber has come down, but it's still very expensive. And I would not fault a developer and or a general contractor for, come on, can't you cut this population a break, and why don't you build those over there for, only about maybe $90 a square foot?
Right.
Why?
Right.
They still got to make ends meet. They've still got to pay all their subcontractors, and they still got to make a profit.
Well, because of the pandemic, they not only have to keep making profit, but they used to be able to get prices and that be fixed. Now they're,
Oh, yeah,
a lot
they're-
of them are doing
You better believe it.
based on what their
You better believe it.
construction materials costs are. So that's not exactly
Mhm.
you can't aim right at that target. It's
Right.
a moving target.
It is.
And I would say, I mean, again, I don't disparage any for-profit developer or
Yeah.
builder, because they, as a nonprofit, again, we can have land donated to us. We can also have that money, that $6 million that we got from the state, is because we're a nonprofit. Developers have to sink all that infrastructure costs in themselves, which they recoup through selling the homes at a higher price point. And so I certainly understand the mechanics and math that other
Oh, yeah.
for-profit developers have to go through.
Well, and being your own general contractor, you can decide when you want to start a project and that sort of thing.
That's the other thing, yeah.
Otherwise, you're not going to be able to find the contractor who would work with you.
That's right, yeah, that's been hard, as you might imagine, and especially with the housing boom. But we do have some good partnerships right now with general contractors. And just because we have our license certainly doesn't mean we're gonna go out tomorrow and start building homes. We realize it's a process for us to get to that point. But that is the ultimate goal, as you said, is we want to be able to save some money by doing that ourselves, and some of the timing issues as well.
Well,
Who's the license sit with? Is it you?
It is me.
I mean, you have to do all the tests?
Believe it or not, yeah, I took.
he's the GC.
If
Yeah.
you left,
So someone else would have to,
Licensing.
yes.
Take
And
the
so
licensing,
the
yeah.
goal is to hire someone who, if not already a GC, will have the ability to take that test. But yeah, in January, I took it. It was a crazy test, but yeah.
Well, we're a little bit over. Carrie, thank you
Yeah,
for
sorry.
your time. No, not at all. Yeah, good questions, but please thank Carrie Bashaw, Brick Capital Community Development. You've provided a lot of information for us, so thank you.
Okay.
Created great awareness now. We're gonna put you to work. Watch
You
this.
make a great Jonesboro Rotary and all.
Oh, okay.
Hey,
gotcha.
there you go, David.
I'm following my predecessor's
That's
footsteps.
it. You
and
would.
Come here.
He's right, you would. Thank you, Dave, for saying that. So, Mr. Jim Miller over here, we do a weekly raffle, which we pick a ticket, and the winner will receive $100. We donate to, it's over there, we donate to local charities with proceeds from this raffle. The reason I said we're gonna put you to work is, we're gonna have you pull a ticket out of there.
Okay. Terry.
Now, see, if you take place, Brick Capital Company, whatever it is.
Community development.
Yeah. they'll
When
pay-
you're on the board.
yeah.
The one you're on the board.
Go for it.
People get me mixed up with Brick Capital Video.
That's right.
Yeah, but anyway, you don't have to worry about money coming out of your pocket. They'll pay the expense.
Oh, okay.
That's true. Most corporate
so-
memberships,
so-
the corporation
so-
pays the
so-
dues.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Very
so
common.
it's no reason
That's
that you
true.
can't join the club.
We're putting the
Okay.
squeeze on you.
I was gonna say, yeah.
This is, we're strong arming you, Carrie. All right, we gotta move on. We gotta move on.
I'm drawing. I'm drawing
Over
here.
there.
Okay.
Pull. That's right.
Oh, look who it is.
Drew Lucas, we were just talking about Drew Lucas. Attorney Drew Lucas, yeah, that's awesome. Probably sold by Robert Gilland, I would think, so. Well, congratulations, Drew. All right, so again.
You're in charge.
Yep, Carrie, thank you for speaking today. We appreciate your time. I'm going to lead us in the four-way test and the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join me in reciting the four-way test of the things we think, say, and do. First, is it truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
will be beneficial to all concerned. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.